The success of your book comes down to the launch. If you do a good launch, you might have a nice, long, successful career. If you do a bad launch, well, who knows what can happen. Hi, I'm Dan Janelle. I'm a book strategist, which means I can help you write your book as a book coach, developmental editor, or ghostwriter. Our guest today will tell you everything you need to know about launching your book to success because he has done it. And I think the title of his book will speak for itself, and I'll let him share that with you. Published, The Proven Path from Blank Page to 10,000 Copies Sold. Welcome, Chandler Bolt. How are you today, Chandler?
Dan, I'm great. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great, thanks. I know you're the president of the Self-Publishing School. I hope I have that correct. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what the school is, and then we'll talk about more about the launch. Successful launch.
Yeah, so Self-Publishing School, we're an online education company and service company. We help people write and publish books that grow their impact, their income, and their business if they have one. So I like to think of it kind of like a year of college or university, or mixed with a business accelerator, where we help people publish books that, and not only just writing a good book, but that the book, to the point of this video and this recording today, is that it's a book that sells well and that launches successfully.
Fantastic. I know that it's a topic that everyone listening is dying to know more about. So tell us, how do you make a successful launch? And then conversely, I'll ask you, what are mistakes that people make when they do their launch? So what are some tips that people can do right away to make sure they have a good launch?
Yeah, there's a few things, and I've got a couple chapters dedicated to this in the new book. I'd say first and foremost, your launch starts before you start marketing the book, and it starts with how you write the book. And so I try to keep this from being too long of an answer, but you've got getting clear on the book that you're writing and who you're writing it to. I call this the 4 Ps of a best-selling book. So you've got person, pain, promise, and price. The price part's pretty easy. Or pretty straightforward at least, but who's the person that you're writing to, the pain that they have, that they know that they have, and the promise that you're making with your book. That's really, really important. And then you can fast forward to the fundamentals of a bestseller, which is a few things. So this is making sure that you've got a good cover, making sure that you've got a good title and subtitle. There's making sure that you're picking keywords and categories correctly, that you're writing a good book description. There's all kind of like, do you have reviews on the book? Like all those kind of things, like the fundamentals. And then there's the tangible pieces of successfully launching. So I call this the launch triangle. So a launch triangle, it's kind of like it's the 3 steps to successfully launching your book. If people are watching the video of this interview, you can kind of see this triangle here. It's on page 136 of the new book. So launch triangle, it's a launch team, it's getting reviews, and it's promotions for your book. All right, so a launch team, I'm sure you're familiar, Dan, small group of people that support your book, right? 15 people, 50 people that they agree to read your book ahead of time and leave a review on day 1. So important. You launch with a bunch of reviews and a bunch of honest reviews. Right, we're not. Don't recommend buying reviews, so that's how you do that. And then the third piece of that triangle, the promotion, that's where you kind of get to accordion back and forth, or you get to accordion based on your time, your resources, your budget, all that stuff, to an MVP launch, minimum viable product, or more of a traditional launch, kind of depending on your resources.
Great ideas. And if you stay till the end, folks, Chandler has promised to give away a few copies of his book, the real book, and mail it to you.
We'll send it to you. Yeah.
Notes in the margin. So stay tuned to the end. Getting reviews is one of the hardest things that my clients find. They don't know who to ask. They don't know how to ask. I have a simple solution, which is, write the review for them. But I'm wondering, what ideas do you have to solicit reviews and get the great kind of reviews that people can see, so they get to know, like, and trust you?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the beautiful thing about writing a new book and creating new frameworks, is you got to make sure that you remember all of it. So I've got a chapter on this in the new book, but there's a few things that I would recommend. There's, and I'm just looking here to make sure I don't forget anything. So there's your launch team, obviously, which we just talked about. there's social media, there's your email list, and then there's one-on-one outreach. Like those are kind of the four main components of getting reviews. Now, the simplest way to get reviews is to ask for it and to make it easy. And so ask people who support your book, hey, would you mind leaving a review at some point today? And here's the link, right? So being very specific, making it easy, as frictionless as possible, which that's kind of, I would assume the intent of what you're saying, which is like, hey, here's a sample review that you can use. You can edit it if you'd like, that sort of thing. So I think that can work really well. I like to set a goal and rally people around that goal. So like, hey, my goal is 50 reviews during launch week. Would you mind? We're at 37. Would you mind taking 2 minutes today to leave a review, right? Give people a reason why, lower the barrier for leaving a review. I already mentioned that by having a link and that sort of thing. And then I like to create what I call a review sweeper. It's an automated follow-up email sequence with people who read your book, asking them for feedback and then asking them to copy and paste that feedback into a review. This is wildly effective, works really well for me and for my books. And then the last thing, tucked within that, is anytime someone says something amazing about your book, ask them to say, hey, would you mind taking 2 seconds to copy and paste that into a review? Here's the link, right? So just, again, asking for it one-on-one, and it's not quote unquote scalable, but it is highly effective, and then making it easy for the reviewer.
Right. I love the idea of including the link in there because, most people, they don't know what a review is. They don't know how long it is. They think it's right. Some big monumental book review that they did in 5th grade that had to be 500 words. And it's much simpler than that. So I love how you make it easier. I'm wondering, since you have such a wide variety of experiences with Amazon, is there a magic number that Amazon looks for when they see reviews? Is it 37? Is it 50? Is it 100? Does it matter?
I think the right number is more. No, I'm just kidding. It really depends on what you're trying to compete for, right? So one of the things I'll do is if I know there's a keyword that I want to rank for with my book, I'll search that keyword in an incognito window in Amazon and then just see how many reviews do the competitive books have. Because if I want to outrank those books, I probably need to have more reviews than them. Not always, but it is very highly correlated to the Amazon algorithms. And so I like to, as a ballpark, shoot for 20 during launch week and then get above 100. That's kind of like, that's the benchmark for me, where I think you just have significantly more social proof. There's no quantitative math behind that. But that's kind of what I like to shoot for and goals that I like to set.
Right. I'm wondering, how important are podcasts in a book launch?
I think they're wildly important. This is a whole chapter on that in the new book too. I think that's why I dedicated a chapter to it, because I think it's one of the most effective and important ways that you can move books. People who listen to podcasts are more likely to purchase books. People would think, oh, if I can only get on the Today Show or Good Morning America, I'm going to sell all these books. Well, time and time again, I've heard from authors that I've interviewed that they just don't move books. And what really moves books is podcasts. And I've seen that with me as well. And that's why I've been intentional about it with my new book.
Fantastic. What other below the radar tactics are there for launching books that you've seen have the best return on investment, the best return on time?
Yeah. There's book promotion sites that can really help and move the needle. There's Launch Team, which we talked about. I don't know that there's a ton below the radar. Maybe book promotion sites is something that not a lot of people do, or one-on-one outreach, or a Launch Team for a lot of people. I know in our world, Dan, it's like, that's maybe a little bit more common, but I'd say that's a maybe below the radar type thing. But that's the thing about stuff that moves books, right? Is there's 60 to 80% of it, I'd say, that is overlap that just works. And we get tired of it long before it stops working. And then there's fringe stuff that might move the needle a little bit. But those are, I think, the main important ones.
Are there any tactics that people spend a lot of time on that you just found just do not really work? Just curious.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think when it comes to launching a book, a lot of people, they take the shotgun approach, not the rifle approach. So they just spray and pray and hope that it works. They do everything, right? Where I think that instead we should take a very focused and targeted effort towards our book launch, right? And so a couple things that I see that people, there's a lot of things, but a couple things that I see that people do that waste time on is building a massive author website and creating an author Facebook page or fan page or that sort of thing. And then there's a bunch of other things like logos and LLCs and business stuff. And they're doing all these things instead of doing the things that truly move the needle when it comes to launching their book.
Fantastic. And you can read more about the right way to launch your book when you read Chandler's new book. And Chandler, you're making the marvelous offer, considering this is going to be on YouTube, where people can see this forever. So I know you want to get a certain number of free copies of your book by a certain date. Yeah. So this will go live in August of 2022. So please make your very generous offer, but realize that people can be saving 10 years from now.
For sure. So guys, if you want a free physical copy of this book, this is my brand new book. It's called Published: The Proven Path from Blank Page to 10,000 Copies Sold. This goes a lot more in depth on a lot of things that we talked about and will help you go from blank page to publishing and selling your book. Go to publishedbook.com/Janel. Okay, so this is Dan's last name, for those who don't know, Janal. So published, like I published a book, publishedbook.com/Janel. And first 50 people in the US that go to that link and fill out the form, just tell me where to ship it. Literally, we'll print it, pack it, ship it, everything. You'll get a free physical copy. If you're outside of the US, or if you're past the first 50, don't worry, we'll keep giving away free digital copies of this book because I believe that it's going to be really helpful for you in your book journey.
Fantastic. That's a very generous offer. You've been very generous with your time and your ideas today. And folks who are watching this on YouTube, we have more than 100 other interviews on how to write your book in a flash, market it, and publish it so you can stand out and people can hear your message and be seen as the expert that you are. Thanks for watching.